Do you set resolutions and goals for your homeschool at the beginning of every year? I'm not talking about our plan, our educational plan that we have, or to submit to our governing bodies each year. I'm just talking about smaller, everyday little goals, or what some of us like to call the New Year's resolutions. You know, those dreaded things. So in today's video, I'm going to show you why setting New Year's resolutions for your homeschool can be valuable, and to give you some ideas on resolutions that may work for you in your home. Okay, I know setting New Year's resolutions can, and does pretty much every year, get a bit of a bad rap. Because let's face it, the vast majority of us that set resolutions have pretty much dumped them within that first month of a new year. So I do get that, I truly do. But when I have taken the time to set truly intentional resolutions for my days and for my year ahead, and worked on them in a conscious, intentional fashion, they have always made such an impact on our homeschool. Like the year that our focus was to get out in the community and make more friends. Or we had a year where our main goal for that year was to spend it intentionally on science, and that worked very well for us. Or the year where we chose to focus solely on writing. But I think our main resolutions and goals for the year can be anything. And they're all going to be different for each one of us, depending on where we are in our journey and how things are going here in our homes. And then of course, we've got all manner of resolutions we can be setting for or with our children, depending on where they are at as well. There's quite a lot of evidence out there showing that teaching our children how to set goals, and in turn setting goals with our children, can go a long way in setting them up for success in the future. Creating a plan and setting some kind of structure around those goals and having your child work towards them can really help to increase motivation, especially when those goals are broken down into smaller, bite-sized, manageable chunks. And of course, goal setting can also help in learning to manage time well, especially when you have those real, tangible goals that you're working towards. So let's pick an example. You've got a child who does martial arts and they're looking to sit for their next grading. So the grading is the goal, regardless of the colour of the belt or whatever that is. The grading will be the goal. Let's sit down and work out what steps we need to take to get ourselves to that grading. You know, we need to learn our patterns or our katas. We need to ensure all of our skills are up to where they need to be. So breaking that down and setting mini goals to be able to get to where they need to be on grading day can really help the child succeed with their grading. And learning these valuable skills will always be an asset in our children's lives. And goal setting for kids, especially kids who like the challenge of pushing themselves, can be a great way for them to learn and grow and do harder things. So we've had a quick look at why goal setting can be an important process and can be a really positive process in our lives. So let's jump into some resolutions for the year ahead. Some of these are really simple and really easy to implement, but they're just things that I either have struggled with over the years or have noticed that it is something that I want to bring into the home for this year, and others may take a little bit more work, time and effort. And this is where breaking down our goals into manageable bite-sized chunks can help us with that. But these are all resolutions or goals that I have used in previous years, and also ones that I want to bring into the home for our year ahead. Number one is to always have a water bottle with me and the kids. It's such a simple one, but it's something that I haven't been great at, especially as my kids have gotten older. But we all end up thirsty and tired because we're dehydrated. And then of course, if we're out and about, we need to spend money purchasing drinks. So one thing I want to focus on for next year is taking that damn water bottle with us when we head out of the house, or even just move around the house, to always have that water bottle by our side. And number two is to start the day reading something that's personally just for me. Whether that's taking the time in meditation, prayer, intention setting, opening a book and reading something that is important to me and is just for me as a person. But I found I've implemented taking the time for myself each morning to do that, to set my intention for the day, to set the tone for the day ahead. Those days always run much more smoothly. So that is something that I want to bring forth into the new year and do it on a more consistent basis, because it's not something that I have been consistent with in the past. And so number 3 is to start each day with a healthy, balanced meal. And by that, for me, that's a meal that contains protein and carbs. And it's not just a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and toast. In fact, I made a change a little while ago to stop drinking coffee on an empty stomach. I'm not going to get into that here, but you might want to do a little bit of research about what it can do to us by drinking coffee on an empty stomach. Just a little tip for you to take a look at. In regards to starting the day with a healthy meal, I've actually done pretty well at that one this past year. There's a rare day that goes by that I do just end up having a piece of toast. Most mornings I start my day with eggs and then something else to go along with that. Orange juice, fruit, mushrooms, spinach, any of those bits and pieces, you know, cheese, that all are yummy together on an omelette or on top of scrambled eggs, some avocado, on sourdough, those types of things. Since doing that has made such a difference to how I am each day. Because by 10:30, 11 o'clock, my tummy is not rumbling, my head is not foggy, I'm clear and I'm full and I'm energized with good quality food to see me through until lunchtime. And having a great, well-rounded breakfast really has a positive impact on our energy and on our blood sugar levels, which in turn can then affect our dreaded, I'm gonna say it, hormones. And we all know how crazy those little monsters can be. So starting the day with a great quality meal is key. Number 4, set aside time every single day just for reading. So this is going to look different depending on where you are in your current journey. If you've got young children, then setting aside that reading time each day probably isn't that hard. Kids love to be read to, so that one generally falls quite easily into your house. But it may look like you reading to your children, or possibly putting on some audiobooks for the kids to sit and listen and thumb through. As your kids get older, it's a little easier where everyone can bring their own reading material and gather together in the lounge room, as I know that you've seen us do, which is something we do every single day. We read our own choice books at this time, and we all just dedicate some lovely, quiet, peaceful time in our own reading endeavors. And I just did some numbers on that. It was actually really fascinating. Did you know even just reading 20 minutes a day, 5 days a week, is going to add up to about 86 hours of reading time in a year? That's pretty impressive in 1 year. 86 hours, that's quite a few books. Quite a few books that you could get through in a year. And the other thing for me, I should have grabbed them, but you all know what they look like. AirPods. I recently invested in a set of AirPods for myself, so or just wireless headphones that will connect to your mobile phone, any type of it. They don't need to be AirPods, but I purchased myself some AirPods and got the Audible app, and I've been doing a lot of my reading time on Audible whilst I'm doing chores. Makes the chores easier to get through. It's definitely a lot more fun when I've got a good book on the go, and I'm also getting in all that extra reading time. I love, love, love. I have to admit, I balked at the whole AirPod thing for quite a while because they're not cheap, and I just felt they were a bit of a frivolous purchase, but they have been one of the best purchases I've made this past year. And number 5, create a system in your home where all of your daily use homeschooling items are kept in one place and are always within easy reach. This one is going to save your sanity time and time again. Trust me, it truly is. Get that system happening as soon as you can. Because as someone who spent many years without that system in place, we wasted so much time and caused so much frustration on lost books or lost pens or couldn't find the stapler or whatever it was, because there just wasn't a system to put things back when we were finished using them. We needed to go through piles of stuff here in the office to look for what we needed each day, and it just becomes really quite frustrating really quickly. So one of my first systems, I began with a set of 3 plastic stacking shelves where each child had all of their schoolwork they were using for that term in their own drawer. And then I also had a basket that I used for all of our stationery. So that basket could be easily pulled out and the kids all knew where their schoolwork was in their stacking drawers. Then the craze of the rolling cart hit the homeschool world. Yep, not gonna lie, I had to jump on that craze too. And I have got 2 rolling carts, which I know you've seen before. And at first I thought, again, this is going to be another superfluous purchase that you made here, Kylie. But I love them. I genuinely love those rolling carts because 2 carts fits everything. Everything we're using for our current term of schooling fits on those carts. All our stationery, my stuff as well, my teacher manuals, any of those things are all on the cart. And generally if I've got other activities planned, like let's say we're doing a hands-on craft activity for history, I can gather that on the weekend and it will also be able to find a spot on the cart. So everything we need for that week is there and handy. And the great thing about them is I can take that cart anywhere in the house with us, all the way out and sit it on our deck on a hot summer's day if that's what we choose to do. I love those carts. They have been one of the best things, even though I didn't need them. I definitely have space and I didn't need the carts, but I love the versatility of having a rolling cart. Okay, number 6 is to get out of the house every single day. And for some of us, that's going to be more challenging than others, again, depending on where we are in our life journey. And I understand that. But it can truly be as simple as just stepping out into the backyard or sitting out on the balcony and doing nothing other than soaking up the sun rays and just watching the clouds fly by and listening to the birds and just being outdoors in the fresh air and the sunshine and letting it wash over you really can change the mood of most of us in literally just a few minutes every single day. So if you can, of course, get out, get your shoes off, get grounded on the grass or the soil or the beach or wherever you are and spend longer periods of time outdoors. But any time outside every single day, I feel for me is absolutely imperative. And I have one child that I know, and I picked this up at a very young age, is the place for them to reset and recharge. It's amazing to see the change in an upset, cranky child or an adult after they've been outside for a few minutes in the day. And number 7, clean your kitchen as you go. This one is for me. I don't know if you need it, but I definitely need this one. Just taking the time to do those little cleanups all through the day, which will literally take a few minutes here and there, rather than leaving everything pile up until the end of the day and you turn around at 7:30, you're tired, you're exhausted, you just want to put your feet up and the kitchen is piled high with dishes. Make the resolution, make that promise to yourself that when you have a couple of minutes, you're going to clean up that little pile of mess that may only be 2 cups and a plate and a knife and fork in the kitchen, and get it away, or at least in the dishwasher if you use a dishwasher. And number 8 is to implement quiet hour. So this is a space for everyone to retreat into their own spaces. And if you've got kids that share rooms, then I would recommend setting up a space somewhere else so the kids can be separated if at all possible, where we can all head off and have our own space, our own hour to recharge and our own quiet time before we come back together again to tackle the rest of the day. When my kids were young, this was the backbone of our homeschool days. This is what kept us going. Having that space each day to go away from each other and spend our own quiet time. Mostly reading, but when the kids were really little, I did make up little activity packs, quiet activity packs that they could sit and do on their own independently in their bedrooms. And of course, depending on your child, the age of your children, all manner of things, you may not get an hour out of your kids. So it is setting realistic expectations. Sometimes you need to start as low as 10 minutes. If I can just get this child to spend 10 minutes quietly in their bedroom entertaining themselves and I can have a quick cup of tea on my own, I'm happy with my 10 minutes. And once 10 minutes is normal and it's manageable for them every single day, increase it to 15 minutes and then 20 and slowly build that up over time. If you haven't done this yet and you're someone that gets to after lunch and you're feeling stressed and frazzled, trust me, give this one a go. It will be one of the best things that you do in your home. Well, it certainly has been for us anyway. Okay, we only have a couple more to go, but if you've gotten this far and you're new here, I just wanted to quickly say I'm Kylie. I've been homeschooling my 3 kids since 2007, and on this channel I share all things homeschooling. So from curriculum reviews, book flip-throughs, videos like this one, any bits of advice or hints or tips I've gleaned over my 15 years of home educating, day in the life videos, so anything and everything homeschool related. So if that's the sort of information you're looking for, please head on down and hit that subscribe button so that you don't miss future videos. We'd love to have you join us. Number 9, to help curb, let's call it the impulse of buying all manner of wonderful educational products. Raise your hand if you're a guilty party. I suggest keeping a list when these new wonderful educational books or resources come across your path. Don't just jump on, click, I have to have that, add to cart. Keep yourself a list, whether that be in a notebook or a teacher binder or online in some way. Keep a list when you see something and sit with that list. Meditate, pray, whatever it is that you choose to do, but just sit with that list and let some time pass before jumping on and ordering. Trust me, you will have so much less buyer's remorse. You will not have a mountain of stuff that you've bought and thinking, now I've got to deal with all of this stuff. Oh my goodness. And your bank balance is really going to thank you. Number 10 is to do with the dreaded mobile phone. Set some limits on the app so that you only have so much time each day to use those apps, especially those draining apps like Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. You know the ones I'm talking about, the ones where you get on and you think, I'll just look for 2 minutes, 15 minutes has passed and you're still sitting on Instagram scrolling. Putting your phone on Do Not Disturb, or even just leaving it in another room when you're sitting down to spend quality time with your kids. Removing that small but somewhat insidious distraction from your view can really have a big impact on the tone of your day. So let me know, which of these resolutions are you going to try in your year ahead? Thank you so much for being here. Bye for now.